So, did you hear about the Fearless Fund ruling that now ends the practice of that organization for being able to give grants to Black women owned businesses? Let's deconstruct that for a sec. Let's talk about why now, especially, is the time to be fearless and what we need to do instead moving forward, right? All right, come on in, you guys. This is a very, very important quick moment that I want to spend with you today, unpacking that Fearless Fund decision. Do me a favor, if you are watching this on replay, put replay in the chat. If you're watching this live, welcome, share, 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 because this is very important. Okay. In case you hadn't heard about this ruling that just happened yesterday, I want to give you a little bit of a synopsis of what this is all about and what we need to do now. And to just sort of contextualize it in a broader context of what we see happening in this country day after day after day, this represents just another attack against Black people writ large, Black women specifically, Black owned businesses, even more specifically, and Black women owned businesses, even very microscopically specific. Okay. And so I say that because we have seen a rolling back of civil rights in this country. We've seen a rolling back of women's rights in this country. But this particular ruling is especially, it's just another one that's extremely disturbing. Let me sort of break that down for you for a quick second. So the Fearless Fund is a nonprofit organization that focuses on providing funds to Black women founders. And there's been a boatload of research that has shown that Black women have the hardest time getting their startups funded, okay, getting capital for their startups. And so this specific organization was founded to fill the gap, right? To be able to provide the funding that Black women owned businesses need to get off the ground, to thrive, to scale, like all of those things that businesses need funding for. We've seen in recent years a huge emphasis on rolling back advancements across race and gender. And specifically, the very same organization that was behind the legal strategy that ultimately led to the rolling back of affirmative action in higher education in the recent Supreme Court decision, well, a few months ago. That very same organization, immediately after winning from their perspective, that Supreme Court decision, they immediately went after the Fearless Fund. They immediately sued them. And so what happened yesterday is that a panel from the Court of Appeals, originally the Fearless Fund the rulings were in their favor and it was appealed, and a panel of the Court of Appeals ruled against them, meaning that they have to stop immediately providing funding for Black women-owned businesses. Now, let me break down what happened, because this is a little bit more complex than most of us realize. So first of all, this was not the full federal appeals court. This was a panel from the federal appeals court that was made up of only 3 judges. Of those 3 judges, 2 of them were Trump appointees. One was an Obama appointee. So you can kind of guess, when this was a 2-to-1 ruling, who ruled for what. All right. So as of right now, the organization has to stop providing these specific these grants. Now, I will say that's not the end of the story. They have already said they're going to continue the fight, and they can appeal this to the full federal appeals court, which is about 24 or so judges on the federal appeals court in that specific jurisdiction. And I will say only about 6 of them are democratically appointed. So that means if you put together all of the appointments in that appeals court that were made by Obama, made by Clinton, even all the way, if you go all the way back to Carter, it's 6 of them there. The rest of them were appointed by people like Reagan, not Nixon, but Reagan, Trump, obviously. You had the 2 Bushes. Like, the rest of them were appointed by Republican presidents. Here's the thing: you just need a majority, right? So I will say that it doesn't look good, but it's possible, though, that some of those justices that were maybe appointed prior to the Trump appointments, which one would argue were probably the most right wing, perhaps some of the Ford or other appointees, maybe the Bushes, might be a little bit more moderate, and there might be enough there to have a change in the appeals court if it goes to the full appeals court. After that, it would go to the Supreme Court, and we saw what the Supreme Court did with affirmative action. I'm not very hopeful about what it will do in this case. But I will say this about what all of this means. For me, all of this means that we need to be especially proactive around looking out for each other, about lifting each other up, about building strong and powerful businesses, and about us making the means amongst ourselves to help ourselves. If there is one thing that we've seen in recent years, especially really kicking off with the Trump administration, and it's just continuing to grow, is this huge racist backlash in this country, I would argue, to a Black presidency. And this right here is just another piece of evidence around that. Moving forward, however, it's not just diagnosing the problem, it's coming up with solutions. And to me, the solution is we need to create the institutions that can provide support in every way possible for us. And I'm not sure if it needs to be as maybe it's more informal, maybe it's our own version of a good old boys, good old girls network, but we need to figure out a way that we can help one another. Because the bottom line is we understand that discrimination hadn't gone anywhere. We understand that the whole reason why the Fearless Fund exists is because left up to the normal course of things, discriminatory actions have led to a reality where these women are much less likely to be able to raise capital to start their businesses. So it's not like there is equal and open opportunity for all. We know that's the case. We know that's not the case, right? However, one could argue that the other side has their own good old boy network. They have that together. And that's what leads to these tilted, institutionalized discriminatory practices that continues to give advantages to the other side and not to us. And we have to get to the point where we understand that sometimes what we need to do is not necessarily a formalized remedy. Sometimes it's just about a cultural tradition. Sometimes it's just about creating those networks, keeping the support and the help for one another in the family. That can't be outlawed. For me, it just makes me that much more determined to fight. It makes me that much more determined to build not only my own successful business, but to do everything that I can to help other Black women build uber successful businesses, because no matter what they do, no matter what they try to do to undo our success, undo our ability to thrive, I want you to know that they're not going to win. They are not going to win. As long as we are in this fight, they are not going to win. And so though some may be disappointed, mad, angry, I know I was about that decision, understand that that's just one part of this story. It is not the end of the story. The end of the story will be that we will win. So I kind of wanted to get that off my chest tonight. I have to run, but I at least wanted to pop on here and give you my thoughts about the Fearless Fund decision, and really to motivate each and every one of you right now who are business owners, who are entrepreneurs, who are out there doing what you need to do. Understand that in this current context, you are a revolutionary. In this current context, you are a hero, a heroine. In this current context, you are a freedom fighter, because they are doing everything that they can to undo our progress. And guess what? We won't let them. All right, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful evening. I hope you are doing well. I will be back on here later, but I have to run right now. And let's chat soon. All right, you guys, take care. Bye.